Hey everybody, I want to talk a little bit about Bible translations because I've been thinking about hermeneutics a lot recently, which is really the study of the Bible, kind of how to study the Bible. And before I get into any of that, and maybe in some future videos, we need to talk about Bible translations because it's tough to study the Bible if you don't get a good solid Bible translation. So I know there's a lot of talk about the King James Version and the New International Version and a lot of controversy surrounding the message. But I want to talk a little bit about why these things are topics and what they are. So without going into history about the actual Greek texts that they come from and things like that, I want to talk about what these translations basically are and how they compare to each other, without really giving, recommendations for one version or another. But what we have is we have these things called word-for-word Bibles. The King James Version is an example of a word-for-word Bible. You also have like the New American Standard Bible and other Bibles like it. You can kind of tell a word-for-word Bible because a lot of them have the word standard in it, like the Holtman Christian Standard Bible. These are more word-for-word Bibles, and word-for-word Bibles are great when you're wanting to do word studies, right? When you're wanting to look at a particular verse and really kind of figure out a specific word and a specific verse and kind of get deep involved in a very small section of Scripture. But then you have this type of Bible that's called a thought-for-thought Bible. Now, if you're wanting to do a study of like a chapter or three, right, or more, a thought-for-thought Bible is really good when you're trying to get the basic point that the author is really trying to speak and trying to put across. A thought-for-thought Bible is a really good Bible to check out. A good example of a thought-for-thought Bible is like the New International Version. That's kind of between a word-for-word and a thought-for-thought. The one I like to use when I'm reading a larger section of Scripture is the New Living Translation. And again, you'll find a lot of the thought-for-thought Bibles have got the word new in it for some reason. Like the New International Version, the New Living Translation. So those are thought-for-thought Bibles, and those, again, are good for study when you're trying to figure things out thematically or trying to figure out a point or trying to understand the message of a specific author. And finally, we have paraphrased Bibles. Now, some of these I wouldn't necessarily even call a Bible. They're maybe better to be called a study guide. But these are really good for you're sitting on your porch, and you're in your rocking chair. You're just kind of chilling out, and you're going to sit down and read for 4 or 5 hours. And if you've got that kind of thing going on where you want to read for a few hours, and kind of read an entire book, or say you're going to read the Gospel of Matthew in one sitting. A paraphrased Bible is good for that because you kind of get to see several themes and several points and get what I would call the 10,000-foot view of what's going on. So those are really good for reading the Bible as if you're going to read a novel, and you're going to take a whole lot in. You're not going to be worried about each thought. You're not going to be worried about each word. You're just trying to get the overall theme, the overall idea of maybe an entire letter or an entire book. So again, you have word-for-word Bibles, you have thought-for-thought Bibles, and you have paraphrased Bibles. So I would suggest that you get one of each, depending on which way you're going to read. So if you're going to read and really intently study, get a word-for-word. If you're going to just kind of read a chapter or two, get a thought-for-thought. And if you're going to spend a long time, but you're not really going to get too in depth, get yourself a paraphrase and get all three and use them appropriately for what your needs are. So hopefully that helps. The Google machines, perfect for this kind of stuff. Look up word for word, thought for thought, and paraphrase, and find some Bibles that maybe you could trust. By a quick search, but hopefully this gives you a guide on what to look for when you're buying a Bible. That's all I got for now. Talk to you later.